What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Master Premier Cup submitted to the channel by Moonstealer6969, who's running a level 50 Hundo Shadow Charizard, which is really cool to see. I don't know if it'll have much play, but when you have a Shadow Hundo like that, you absolutely have to flex it. Now they're running it alongside a 98% Shadow Machamp and Metagross in the back, and yes, this team on paper looks super weak to Gyarados, but I'd imagine they just can't afford to build the perfect lineup to complement Shadow Charizard, and just went with what they had. Now they do still beat plenty of Gyarados in this video, by the way, and with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What has been your favourite Pokemon to run in the Master Premier Cup this season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle, see Shadow Charizard into Shadow Porygon Z. Insane spice from the opponent. Honestly, that is crazy to see. I definitely would not expect to see this matchup in the Master League Premier Cup. But anyways, they're going to go for a Tri-Attack. We do live that, not super comfortably. We're going to go for a Dragon Claw here, but we are debuffed in our attack. They put shields anyways, and they swap into Togekiss, hoping to get the snipe, but they don't quite get there. We can now go for a Blast Burn, dealing big damage. Of course, we were debuffed, so not quite as much damage as you might expect, but that's fine because we put them into perfect farm down range. This is not going to be a flamethrower, so we are going to no shield, just an Ancient Power, and they come in with an extra shield. Now we're going straight for the Earthquake, no point in baiting here. Earthquake is going to be no shielded by the opponent. We can now just come in with the Shadow Machamp. This is certainly game over. We're even gonna no shield. The opponent full sends a Blizzard and it one-shots the Machamp. Honestly, respect to that opponent there. They knew it was game over, but they went out with a bang. But we do end up taking that game. But into the next battle, we can see Shadow Charizard up against Togekiss. This should be a positive matchup for us, although potentially in the 2-shield scenario, they might just be able to fully charm farm us down there. But either way, we full send the Blast Burn. Looks like we are going to lose the 0-shield scenario though, as an Ancient Power would of course take us out. They end up getting the boost, which actually probably is slightly better for us, just because we give less farm for the opponent as they come in with the Gyarados, which we already know is a very problematic Pokemon for the entire team. So honestly, not too bad. We make it to a Dragon Claw and a Blast Burn, dealing big damage, and honestly, it is amazing that the opponent didn't shield either charge move there, because we've put them into range where we can just either Bullet Punch or counter, farm them all the way down. They go for Crunch there, dealing big damage, but they don't get a defense drop. The Dragon Breath not dealing much damage, and we swap into Machamp, hopefully catching the next Crunch, and we do catch it as well. The counter does take them out there, but unfortunately they drop our defense with that Crunch. I think we need to get both shields from these cross chops here. We go and grab that first shield from the opponent. We're only making it to another cross chop, and cross chop not going to do too much damage, but the opponent does shield that. And if you remember, we've already banked the Earthquake, unfortunately losing CMP as we come in, but it doesn't matter. We still had one shield ourselves. We can now full send the Earthquake, and of course Earthquake gonna be taking out the Metagross, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, getting a notification from Mum, and honestly, I want to say, if you are going to submit battles to any content creator, I would advise just putting your phone into Do Not Disturb mode. That way, when you're screen recording, you're not going to get any embarrassing messages from your mum or your girlfriend or someone else. But here, we're going to see an attachment is sent from Mum. Hopefully, we don't open it during the battle. But either way, we're going to call that the opponent baits with a Meteor Mash here. We're going straight for the Earthquake here. We've already grabbed the shield, and now we're able to flip switch advantage, which is very nice. The opponent then comes in with their Gyarados, and they're not going to commit to a full farm down. I think that is a probably quite a bigger mistake there, as of course Meteor Mash is resisted, but that's fine. We're going to come in with the Machamp, the opponent swaps, and we are very quick to swap into our Shadow Charizard, and once again up against a Charm user. I don't think this Blast Burn is going to be enough damage to get the KO, but it will get them very low, to the point where we can just Wing Attack farm them down. We are actually definitely going to shield this up, and we're now going to go for the Wing Attack farm down, and once again probably going to go for that Blast Burn, as it's going to deal more damage than a Dragon Claw despite being resisted. The opponent no shields, and that puts them into range where we can just go for cross chops. And honestly, I think another mistake here, the opponent not going for the full farm down. Now we can probably just go for a full counter farm down, if I'm honest. They go for another Aqua Tail here. We are going to play it safe, go for the back-to-back cross chops. I don't think they're another Aqua Tail here, so cross chop number 1 grabs that final shield, and cross chop number 2 from about 5 HP remaining will certainly take out the Gyarados, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, very tricky lead here, leading into a Shadow Magnezone. So gonna say swap into Machamp, and we bait out Gyarados. And honestly, it's not bad to see it here at all, because We've only got Rock Slide really that's going to hit that Gyarados for much damage. We're actually going to bait with a Cross Chop though. I wonder if in the 2-shield scenario this will allow us to flip this matchup. We're now going to full send the Rock Slide. Rock Slide will be coming through, grabbing a shield from the opponent, and here the opponent is not going to commit to the full farm down, so that's fine with us. It looks like we tried to go for the Cross Chop anyways, losing CMP, but that's fine. We're now going to have to come in with the Metagross here because of course Charizard really not going to appreciate those Aqua Tails. We do at least resist the Dragon Breath damage here, and the opponent only based with an Aqua Tail as well, so that's fine with us. We're now going to go and full send the Meteor Mash, taking out the Gyarados from this range. They come in with Extra Drill. I would personally try and catch the move there, but it's very risky because if the opponent holds onto the energy, then of course they will be able to very easily go for 2 Rock Slides up against the Charizard, grabbing a shield and taking us out. But there, we go for the Earthquake. We have to swap back into our Charizard, but the opponent can take us out with a Wild Charge. Wild Charge easily one-shots the Charizard, and we're not making it to an Earthquake in time, and Meteor Mash is double resisted as well, so I actually don't know if that would get the KO, but Wild Charge easily takes out the Metagross, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, we see Annihilate in the lead, so this should be a good matchup for us. You can see it is severely under-leveled. That's the thing with like lower elo battles, especially in the Master League. You are going to be facing opponents that just don't quite have the resources to compete, and it's probably why they're not at such a high level. But here we're going to completely switch apps and then somehow still make a catch there. Although honestly we're going to have to shield anyway, so going to shield that up there. Hopefully we can make it to a Cross Chop before they make it to the next Avalanche. Quite hard to keep track of that energy when we're not even playing in the Pokemon Go app right now, but they're going to come in with a Skeledirge, which isn't ideal, but of course, keeping away from the Metagross is very nice. We go for the Rock Slide, and the opponent no-shields that. That is perfect. Now we can just let the Machamp go down here. Disarming Voice will be taking us out. They do have a little bit of residual energy, I believe. So we come in with the Metagross, and this could be a Shadow Ball, so I definitely think we should shield this. It is the Shadow Ball. We're now going to swap at the same time as the opponent. I'm not really sure if I would have played it like that, but that's okay. We can go for a Dragon Claw, grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and they can't afford to go for a full farm down. So the opponent is going to take us out with a Night Slash. We can come in with the Metagross, and I think playing it safe is just going straight for that Meteor Mash. We know the Skeledirge is energy dry, so Meteor Mash takes out the Annihilate, and we should just be able to go for a Bullet Punch farm down, but we are lagging a lot here. The opponent is getting another Incinerate through, but we are just barely able to get the farm down. Honestly, that was some heart and mouth stuff right there. I'm sure this trainer was very, very concerned that they were about to get to another charge move, but either way, we can come out of that match with a win. And into the next battle, I think it was a Primarina in the lead. We swap into Metagross, and the opponent swaps into their own Metagross, and then they're just going to concede the match there. They tried to call a bait, and were able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see a Shadow Mamoswine in the lead. So honestly, seeing a decent amount of variety in the lead so far, with some very nice Shadow Pokemon as well. Personally, when I did my battles, I've only done 25 battles in the Master League Premier Cup, and a lot of them were just like Dragonite lead over and over again, or Gyarados or Florages. Not a lot of variety, but it's very nice to see here. We're going to go for another Meteor Mash here. The first one didn't do too much damage, but the second one will actually grab a shield, and the opponent isn't going to commit to a full farm down. Honestly, I don't think they could either. I feel like we would have made it to another Meteor Mash there, so very nice from the Metagross. That really isn't that dominant of a matchup. We're now going to shield this up here as the opponent going to go for the Aqua Tail. Hopefully we can go for a Wing Attack farm down, but the opponent actually swaps out into Hydreigon here, so very cool to see. We're just going straight for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw going to deal some decent damage, unfortunately losing CMP, but yeah, I agree with this. We know that they've got a Mamoswine, Shadow Mamoswine in the back. We can come in with the Machamp, get the full counter farm down, and this should certainly be game over. The opponent comes back in with the Mamoswine, and we will definitely outpace them to back-to-back Cross Chops before the opponent can make it to back-to-back Avalanches. The opponent possibly could try and make a catch there, but even then, I think we still make it to a third Cross Chop in time. But either way, we're able to take them out with the Cross Chop, get the counter farm down up against the Gyarados, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see Shadow Gyarados in the lead, gonna say swap into Machamp, and the opponent looks like maybe trying to catch a Rock Slide there, but they do stay in for quite a while, giving us a huge energy advantage. And remember, Cross Chop did get a buff to its attack this season, dealing 5 more damage now, and that unfortunately still not quite enough damage to take out the Metagross before they make it to a Meteor Mash. And at this point, we're happy to just let the Machamp go down. We can now come in with the Charizard, get a huge Wing Attack farm down, but they've got a Smackdown Tyranitar in the back. That is absolutely absolutely awful to see. Gonna go for the Dragon Claw, at least grabbing a shield there, but yeah, not too great. We're definitely gonna have to shield this as well. Could be a brutal swing or a crunch, either way would be very bad for us. They're now going to come back in with the Shadow Gyarados, and I think we just have to no shield here. Hope it's an Aqua Tail, but it's a crunch. That does huge damage there. We can go for a Meteor Mash, but the opponent probably just going to be able to fully Dragon Breath farm us down. They also end up shielding the Meteor Mash, which is even worse for us. They actually don't commit to the full farm down, but it doesn't matter. This is game over. We can come in with a Charizard. We are already so low here. Gonna go for that Blast Burn just for the sake of it, and Blast Burn doesn't even get the KO. They get the Dragon Breath farm down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But heading into the next battle, we see another Togekiss in the lead, so much better to see here. And the opponent's going to swap into a Fury Cutter Galissapod. That is a very questionable decision. Honestly, I've got no idea why you'd run a Fury Cutter, especially in the Master League of all leagues. Like, what is weak to bug in this league? I have no clue. They also go for an Aerial Ace bait, which is a huge mistake. You know what, I'm thinking maybe the opponent just built the Galissapod here and then forgot to give it the right moves. Maybe that's their first battle and they're just going to concede the match. That probably is the case. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really know why they'd run that. Maybe just don't have any TMs either. That could also be the case. But in which case, just don't run your Galissapod if you've not got the right moves. But either way, we're going to see another Togekiss in the lead in the next battle, going for the Blast Burn, and the opponent going to overfarm, allowing us to make it to a second Blast Burn. And this is amazing for us. Blast Burn going to grab both shields from the opponent, and they're still going to throw their energy, worried that we'd make it to a third Blast Burn. So they go for a Flamethrower as well. Very strange decision from the opponent, possibly predicting that we try and make a catch there. I don't know, otherwise, yeah, I don't really know why you'd go for the Flamethrower. But either way, we're able to get a full Bullet Punch farm down. Now go for a Meteor Mash, dealing huge damage there, swapping into our Machamp. I don't think that swap was really necessary, but it's going to be game over as the opponent has an extra drill in the back, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, Shadow Charizard into Goodra. I'd imagine this is a losing matchup just because with the Dragon Breath damage adding up, I believe once they do make it to a second Aqua Tail, that's probably going to be enough damage to get the KO. So we're actually just going to grab an early shield there, then swap into our Metagross, and the opponent is going to full send a Draco Meteor. I was not expecting that. They're now going to chip there with that Draco and then come in with their own Metagross. We're going for the Earthquake, grabbing a shield, and the thing about that Draco Meteor is we're now in range where they don't have to full send an Earthquake. They can just go for the Meteor Mash, taking out the Metagross, but we've got a 2-shield advantage. So at this point, I think the right play here is just to overfarm massively in this matchup. We're going to shield this up here. As the opponent goes for a Meteor Mash, we should be farming to 100 energy. We actually just go short of it. Doesn't really matter. We do at least have a Dragon Claw loaded. Meteor Mash, oh sorry, Blast Burn gets the KO. We can now go for the Dragon Claw and then probably swap into our Shadow Machamp straight away. But no, instead, staying in with the Shadow Charizard, we're able to make it to another Dragon Claw here, getting the KO, but unfortunately they've got Togekiss in the back, so that is not ideal. We can make it to a Rock Slide. It's going to hit for super effective damage, but it will not be enough damage to get the KO, and they can farm down both the Machamp and the Charizard, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But into the next battle, we see Tyranitar in the lead this time around, so awful for us. Gonna say swap into our Shadow Machamp. The opponent actually stays in for ages there. We get off a ton of counter damage before they do eventually swap into a Skeledirge, and with such a significant energy advantage, this isn't too bad for us. We do grab an early shield here. We're gonna no shield. Disarming Voice will of course get the KO. But we're going to take that shield advantage, and then we're going to go for a Dragon Claw throwing on CMP. Looks like we win CMP as well. Dragon Claw is going to be no shielded. It really does not do much damage when it's not hitting against other dragons. They go for the Shadow Ball. We just barely hang on there, and we're able to make it to a Dragon Claw as well. So hopefully this is the hardest answer they have to a Metagross in the back. They do still get the Incinerate farm down, so we're definitely going to shield this up here. Hopefully we can Bullet Punch farm them down, and we do get that farm down. So let's see what they've got in the back. They come in with the Tyranitar. We're probably going to have to shield here as well. The opponent goes for a Brutal Swing, and the opponent is going to then swap into Ursaluna, so I think this is just game over in all honesty. Unless the opponent is not running high horsepower, then we might have some play, but yeah, I think we're going to find out now that probably is not enough energy for a high horsepower. It's just the Aerial Ace. So this one, I think we just farm to 100 energy. No, we're throwing straight away. I don't believe this is the right play because the opponent correctly no shields that, and now they can outpace us to a charge move before we make it to back-to-back Meteor Mashes. The first one grabs that final shield, but they do very comfortably make it to another Brutal Swing, and Brutal Swing will be taking out the Metagross, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into next battle, we see Shadow Charizard up against Shadow Dragonite, so we're just going to go for that Dragon Claw, throwing it straight away here. This will not be enough damage to get the KO, but probably going to grab a shield, and we do grab that shield. And we're able to make it to a second Dragon Claw, but it looks like the opponent probably going to commit to a full Dragon Breath farm down, so grabbing both shields here, but they've got a ton of energy now. The thing about Metagross, we do at least take neutral damage from the superpower, so gonna no shield the first one, calling a bait, and the opponent does end up baiting. So gonna no shield once again. This time they go for the superpower, dealing big damage, and we're gonna swap catch the move onto our Machamp, although pretty unnecessary there, just because of course we're going to shield anyways, but we can now go for a counter farm down, and we've got a ton of energy on our Metagross. So the opponent makes a very nice bait there, coming in with the Excadrill, then swapping, catching the move onto Metagross, but that's fine with us. We can now go for another cross chop here, and cross chop is, as we've seen already, gonna get them deep into the red health range. I personally would just shield this up here, but we're going to no shield. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We can come in with our own Metagross, get the farm down, come out with an Earthquake loaded, and of course, this is certainly going to be enough to take out the Excadrill, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we see Shadow Charizard into yet another Togekiss. So I'm going to be honest, I did not see too many Togekiss when I did my battles the other day. I see a few pre-Marina. I think that's probably just the preferred one to go for. But of course, Togekiss did have a community day, so it's probably a lot easier to get the XL candies for. Here, we're going to shoot up the Ancient Power once again. This time, they don't get a boost, and we can get that Wing Attack farm down. They're then going to come in with a Swampert, which is quite interesting to see. We're going straight for the Blast Burn here. Blast Burn is going to grab a shield. We still make it to a second Blast Burn, which is very nice. Blast Burn is going to be no shielded this time around. Personally, I don't think we should have swapped there. The opponent still had to throw a charge move to get rid of us, but now they can full send an Earthquake. We're going to go for a Cross Chop. Honestly, I did not see what came in there. Cross Chop is going to be shielded. It's actually an Excadrill, which is fine with us. We're going to shield this up here just because, of course, the counter damage is really going to chunk this Excadrill. So going straight for another Cross Chop here. Cross Chop is going to get the KO, and they come back in with the Swampert, but the Mud Shot's not doing much damage. We actually get a simultaneous KO there, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see Shadow Charizard into an Excadrill, and we're going to swap, make the catch, hopefully catching a Rock Slide, but if the opponent expects the catch, they might have just gone for a Drill Run there, which would have been very interesting to see. But either way, the opponent's going to come in with a Pre-Marina. We go for a Cross Chop, as we're not making it to any other move, unfortunately. But now we can come in with the Metagross, and the opponent is not at a Hydro Pump already, so we can just safely no-shield this. It's just a Disarming Voice, and despite being only neutral damage, we can go for a full Bullet Punch farm down, and they come back in with the Excadrill. So go straight for the Earthquake here. Earthquake is going to grab a shield from the opponent. We're then not even going to commit to a second Earthquake, just going for Meteor Mash, and the opponent is going to shield anyway, so that is very nice for us. And the opponent, again, also not going to commit to a full farm down, going for the Drill Run, getting the KO. We can come in with our Charizard here, and as long as they don't have something super hard answer to our Charizard in the back, like a Waterfall Gyarados, then I think we would have been fine. But unfortunately, this is one of the worst things we could see, other than a SmackDown user like the Tyranitar. But yeah, at this point, I think we might shield anyways, just to make it close here. If this Blast Burn just barely doesn't KO, that might be perfect, because we get one extra Wing Attack in for free. But unfortunately, it does get the KO. They're going to be able to outpace us to the next charge move. And of course, from this range, even a Drill Run would get the KO. But they go for the Rock Slide, double super effective, and that takes out our Charizard. But into the next battle, we see Annihilate in the lead. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into a Togekiss. We can come in with the Metagross, and this is a great matchup for us. Going to go and throw on poor timing, but it doesn't really matter. This is such a dominant matchup in even shield scenarios here, but we're actually going to choose to no shield. And the opponent goes for a Flamethrower. Doesn't quite get the KO there, but that's honestly possibly even better for them. But now we can come in with our Charizard. We're going to go for a full Wing Attack farm down here, and the opponent's going to come in with a Mamoswine. So we can actually just overfarm massively, go for a Blast Burn. Blast Burn does get the KO. They come in with Annihilate. I want to see a full Charizard sweep right now. We're going for the Dragon Claw, grabbing that shield, and then we swap into Machamp. I don't think we needed to do that, honestly. If the opponent just goes for an Ice Punch and then goes for a full counter farm down, this could be a little bit scary here, just because, of course, they are going to resist or double resist everything we can possibly throw. We go for the Rock Slide, really does not do much damage there, and they do get that full counter farm down, but I think we should be fine here. We can just double shield, go for a Blast Burn, and that should be game over, but I think that swap into Machamp was very unnecessary. But either way, Blast Burn will be coming through, it will be taking out Annihilate, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Charizard into yet another Togekiss, so very nice to see. We are going to see the opponent comes in with a Smackdown Rhyperior, and that's fine with us. We've got Machamp. This is a very nice matchup. We're going to go straight for that Cross Chop, and Cross Chop is going to be shielded by the opponent. This should just be either a Breaking Swipe, a Surf, or a Superpower, so not going to do too much damage there. And we are now going to go and make it to another Cross Chop before they make it to the next Breaking Swipe. Cross Chop is going to be no shielded this time around. They come in with the Togekiss, but that's fine. We can come in with our Metagross, and hopefully this time we will shield, but nope, doesn't matter. The opponent is just going to concede the match, and we're able to take that game. And now into the final battle of this video, we see a Hisuian Avalugg in the lead. So honestly, we've got two much better answers in the back. I personally would swap out straight away, but maybe just wanting them to, well, go for an Icy Wind there and not debuff whatever we swap into. But either way, they go and come in with a Golisopod. That's fine, we're able to land a Blast Burn. We were debuffed, but it's probably our best matchup here, having it up against our Charizard, especially with such a significant energy advantage. The opponent gonna overfarm here. We make it to another Dragon Claw, grabbing both shields, and at this point, we're definitely gonna let the Charizard go down. They go for Liquidation. This time, Golisopod is running the correct moves to go for. We're gonna come in with a Metagross. We're just gonna no-shield this here, as the opponent gonna go for an Aerial Ace bait for some reason. Don't really know why they did that. And then they swap into Annihilate, which is perfect because Machamp, we've seen already, does very poorly into Annihilate, but now we've landed a Meteor Mash. This is fine. We can just come in with our Machamp and take them out. They go and full send the Shadow Ball. Does get the KO, but that's fine. We come in with the Machamp. We're going straight for that Cross Chop, and from this range, even double resisted damage, it will get the KO. The opponent's going to come back in with their Avalugg, and this is fine with us. We can make it to a Cross Chop before they make it to another Icy Wind. Cross Chop easily gets the KO there. They come back in with Golisopod. We're able to counter, farm down Golisopod, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.